Welcome. Deb, Juan, JP. We're excited to have each and every one of you here and want to welcome you to the Growth Mastermind Group. Growth Mastermind Group is a group of entrepreneurs who have been on a mission since 2019 to help other entrepreneurs find, unleash, and fulfill their potential. We meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:35 a.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on Clubhouse. And we invite you to the stage. Raise your hand if you'd like to join us, have a question, or think you can add value to the conversation. Here at Growth Mastermind Group, everyone is welcome to share on stage. We appreciate each and every one of you being here. And if you want to follow the Growth Mastermind Group, it's the little green mansion at the top of the page. Just click it. And if any of the moderators resonate well with you, please click on their profile and follow them. And while I'm going to send this back over to the man. We have a special treat for you today. We have two Peters in the house this morning. How exciting. But before we get started, that little green or the little box on the left-hand side of the bottom of your screen, ping some people into the room, share the room on your social media platforms, and let's fill this room. With that, Peter, I'll send it over to you.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, Tabitha, for sharing with us and starting us on this journey. And I just want to, say one more time, a warm welcome for Mr. Peter Vasil Russell. I want to make sure I'm going to spell every single one of the names in case other people, they will know him in a different way. But it's just amazing to have all these names because it makes you to be unique. And he is actually a very unique person. He's in the business since 2004 when he started Vasil Investment Funds. And he been in different businesses and absolutely in a lot of positions from the CTO, CEO, like literally absolutely an amazing talent that he gathered all these years of understanding, fulfilling positions and running businesses in different ways. And the last business that he is running right now, he's a consultant and for other businesses that helps other businesses to 10x and push themselves on the path of success. And he is always, I would say, entrepreneur service that is going to bring them on the shortest time possible and give them the constant delivery and the peak performance for the highest productivity possible. Mr. Peter Russell here is in the house, and he's going to amaze us with his experience, his, I will say, mistakes that he gathered on his own and also from other customers. And he's going to tell us about how we can kind of convey those mistakes in some amazing solutions that is going to 10x the business and it's going to take the next obviously our lives. And this being said, Mr. Peter, you have the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction. And there is no such thing like an entrepreneur who had never made a mistake. Actually, the most successful ones failed more often than anyone else. And you don't need to take my word for it. Go and ask Elon Musk. He's going to be the number one person to tell you that, yeah, actually, I have failed more than anyone else was even willing.
100%. And let me ask you this, Peter. Like I see you here, like having the journey started basically in 2004. So, what happened when you actually start this thing, and why you started?
Oh, that's a very easy answer to that. went as a student to university, as a lot of people out there do when you reach certain age and pass the barrier which prevents you to go there. I went to the university, and very quickly I have realized that actually, hold on, these folks are already 30 years out of date. Was really the point me spending another 5 more years with them. So that was pretty much it. Not that the university life wasn't good, but I just couldn't see the benefits of it. So quit the whole thing and went out there to try to get a job. Well, at that age, it's a little bit difficult with just finding a job you really want. So the point actually is that you have to, or you are made to start somewhere where you really don't want to be. And I wanted to address this issue by actually, okay, if I can compress time and skip the years of doing things I don't really want doing, well, I have to start a business. That's technically the only solution you have at that particular age. Is it your experience as well, Peter?
Well, I'll put it in a different way, like the way I saw my start in the entrepreneurial journey. I was really want to do something different. So my first endeavor, I think, as an entrepreneur that, I would like to share is the fact that, my first company basically was a company that I felt the need of it because it was not there yet. I was responsible by the end of the high school of kind of looking for the artist to come to invite him on our end festivity, and I could not find no how to get in touch with them. So what I decided to do is I opened basically a company that was responsible to find artists and bring artists for different venues and different events. And basically my journey started because I felt like it's a gap in the industry. So it was not necessarily like, because, my first job I started actually 4 or 5 years before, and I was working loading and unloading trucks. So I was not very picky. I was just determined to get my radio cassette player, which on that time
Okay.
was a big deal, because it was back in the 80s. So we talk a long time ago. But yeah, back in the 80s, and it was something that my parents, they could not afford. So my first determination was like, I'm going to get myself a job to get my money, to get my first cassette player. So that's what I did. So here you go, our determination is based on pain or some pleasure that it's behind it, that it's always driving us on different directions. That's going to drive us and make us to be a superstar later on, by pushing ourselves in that uncomfortable spot of entrepreneurship with pain points and other, leverage devices or
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a fantastic thing you just mentioned here, because if you take a look at what's happening when you are contemplating the idea of starting a business, and when you are going in, you have a goal. What that goal typically is anything ranging from I want a cassette player to I want to change the world. So you are somewhere on that scale. The reason why you're starting this business, what actually isn't on that scale, is I actually do know already how to start a business, how to operate it, and how to grow and scale it up. This is the number one thing which is missing in, we can safely conclude, in 99% of new businesses started. So you want something, maybe you do know how to do something, and that's the main driver for most of entrepreneurs. However, knowing how to actually do that is number one mistake, or not knowing how to actually set up, operate, and grow a business is the first mistake people do. So you are starting at the base of, okay, I want to do this, and I'll figure everything out along the way. Simply, I will learn as I go. This may be the case, may not be, because we are kind of people who are creatures of habit, and we don't like changing a lot. Therefore, we tend to get stuck for quite an extended period of time in certain mindset, in certain habits, and those are the things which are mostly preventing us from getting what we do want, and that's the reason why we have started the business in the first place.
And let me ask you this: what is the hardest or part in when you start a business that you encounter on your personal journey, and what solution you got for it?
Well, the hardest part is to actually accept that the skill set and habits you have now is not what you actually need. And in its essence, entrepreneurship is the most comprehensive and at the same time the most unforgiving personal development program we have on this planet. So what you know now is not going to be enough to make a million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion. So as you go, you need to change yourself, what you do, how you think, significantly every single step of the way, because building a business from nothing to something substantial is a process, and in every stage of that particular journey, you're going to need a different skill set, different mindset in order to succeed. And at the end of it, you would need to leave it behind, take a step up, because on the next level, you're going to need something else.
So true. And I think, like at the end of the day, it is our duty to kind of acknowledge this and kind of allow, I will say, ourselves on accepting that we don't know everything. And that's, I think, the very hardest thing of a lot of entrepreneurs, accepting the fact that we don't know everything and we need help, and allowing ourselves of others, for us to actually accept it and for others to help. I think it's one of the most crucial elements on a business success, or being that humble person that is looking for somebody to be there for them, help them, and actually accept that need of be pushed towards the right direction, And this being said, can you share with the audience the top mistakes that you see in other businesses from your clients, from everything else that you gathered all this year? And what do you think that, kind of talk about the commonality, other things that you see ongoing, and kind of have that, I would say, lay down of, let's say, the most common 10 mistakes, and hard mistakes.
Let's start with the most important one. Number one is thinking too small in the beginning. The reason why you should think big is that by definition, by going about your business, you will encounter resistance. There will be problems. There are things you will foresee. There are things you would not be able to foresee from the moment where you are at the start of your business. And if your goals are not big enough, with the amount of resistance and the amount of pushback and failure you will encounter, you will be the first person to talk yourself out of it. So there's going to be pain, that's for sure. You can choose between two different types of pain. There's going to be a pain of progress, which is, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do anything it takes, and I will get what I want. Or there's going to be a pain of regret. The things you will accumulate, the opportunities you didn't even try to chase. And later on in your life, you will actually understand that the bar actually wasn't that high as you thought, and you could have easily gone for it, easily did it, yet you never even tried. So if you have a goal which is big enough for you, it's substantial, not only for yourself, maybe for your family, for your community, maybe for the whole planet. And I'm going to borrow Elon Musk here as an example again. He's someone who is thinking of putting humans on Mars as casual as we are flying from Europe to United States and back. It's something we don't even know today whether it's possible to achieve within his lifetime. Yet he's chasing a goal of that size, of that magnitude, works tirelessly through failure, and keeps getting up every single day to make another step closer, bringing him closer to that goal. And while he may not succeed in his lifetime to achieve it, he had definitely already achieved a lot more than others have set themselves as a lifetime goal. So the technology which is required to be developed in order to make it possible what he wants is already being used. We already have reusable rockets, etc., etc. So let's not go into detail, but simply thinking big enough in the first place is the key for you to actually succeed, because you can then take mental ownership of this whole goal, and it's going to be the thing you can remind yourself when there's failure or things are not going as you would want, that actually, well, there's that big thing, that reason I'm doing it for, and I'm going to persist. So that's definitely number one, which is across the board, regardless of which industry you're in. This one is applicable to every single one of us.
So this is going to be the number one, I'll say, hurdle that as an entrepreneur you see in common for most of the people.
Yeah.
And which is going to be I'll say the solution for it, to say like that. What is going to be your way of seeing this hurdle as the best way of, and this one I'm asking with action steps, in the meaning that I really want people that they listen to actually take your words and put them in a pad or notebook or something and watch them and say, yes, this is what I'm going to do to make myself successful, to 10x myself, to push myself to the limits, that I'm going to be a superstar or whatever it is.
You can, there's a number of ways you can remind this to yourself on a daily basis, whatever works with you technically. But the goal has to be big enough in the first place. And you have to have means to remind this to yourself. And people who are familiar with the 10x and Grant Cardone know that we are massive devotees of writing down goals we have every single day, when we get up in the morning, when we go to bed, and whenever we are upset, whenever there's something that gets either out of hand or simply there's some sort of failure we are encountering, we are reminding ourselves at that moment that, okay, this may be a little bit of a failure here, but it's not going to break anything. I'm still chasing this big goal. And you have to have a mechanism for yourself to stay on track. So think big enough and have those goals always on your mind.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And let's kind of
You're muted, Peter.
yes. Let's kind of have this thing. I was actually uploading the clip inside of Instagram, and I had to kind of push it towards there. But yeah, it's good. I just put a clip there for somebody that wants to listen later, like to good advice. And I just want to kind of like go to this idea of like you said, like having the goal big enough, because a lot of people, they have this kind of struggle of understanding what is big enough. For them, big enough, maybe it is to have your company inside of maybe recorded to you with your local state, your local government or whatever it is. But for others, it's like having the company maybe to like $1 million, or other like different milestones. But to the definition, from a point of view of a person that it's here to crush it, what is gonna be big enough, 10x to say like that? What is going to be the definition that you can put as a spin for somebody to understand when we talk big?
Well, it's going to be different for everyone, but it has to be big enough for you. It has to be big enough to actually make you do something you are uncomfortable doing. Let's put it this way. So simply, if you have a goal, and mind that that goal doesn't have to stay with you all the time, because whenever you will come really close to achieving that goal, you will realize actually that goal wasn't big enough, but it was at the beginning of your journey. So when you achieve a goal, you don't say, okay, that's me done, that's it. You just multiply the goal or set another one which is bigger. So that's the key of continuous development, that actually when you are coming closer to your goal, in order not to become satisfied, you need to up the goal. You need to literally move the goalposts for yourself, because imagine if you will set yourself a journey that, for example, I'm going to build a 10 million business in the next 10 years. And imagine you will come to a range of 7 to 8 million in 4 years. So what are you going to do then? You're going to wait 6 years to do the rest. You up the target. So actually in the remaining 6 years, you will not make 10 million business, you will make 50 or 100 million. And because that's going to reflect the progress you've already made. And that's going to be the thing which is ultimately going to prevent you from satisfying and slowing down and making sure that your business keeps growing, because that's kind of a mind trap we are setting for ourselves. And you see this on businesses which are flatlining for 10, 15 years. Like I've spoken with a number of people, they've been in business for 20, 25 years. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. You must be nearing your billion valuation anytime soon. Well, these people typically burst to laugh. Hey, actually, I never left like 500,000, 1 million, or whatever that number is. And then the question is, okay, why? Well, the typical reason behind it is I've already made all of the money I wanted. So I'm just kind of coasting along. And that's the difference. If you have 10x goals, they are always in the unachievable region for you. So you always have something to chase, to push, to work through, failure or delays relentlessly, because you cannot come even close to those goals, and you're always making sure that you are pushing them higher as you're coming closer.
That's so true and so powerful, because a lot of people, they have this flat curve of progress inside their company, and I think they fall in that comfort zone that they cannot grow anymore, and that's where
Absolutely.
they can like sitting there for the rest of their business life, to say like that. So like by the way, if somebody has any questions, if somebody has anything to ask on, please feel free to put in the chat, or if not, just come on the stage. But I'm more than happy to welcome you for having any questions. And meanwhile, I just want to kind of like take this thing to a kind of a little bit of different directions. Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying with that one, it is more like this idea of, you mentioned earlier that you see so many people in this situation. Yeah.
Mm.
And you see also this like kind of comfort zone that they are like always complying on. So my question that I will have, what do you think is the common, I'll say, reason for them not to be able to get out of that line, that I'll say level where they are right now, and not necessarily as a mistake, but more as a
Nie
mindset?
może mieć.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nie możemy teraz, nagrałam, sekundu.
Sorry.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Sorry, there was some issue with the sound.
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure, definitely. So what is going to be the common denominator that you think that's going to be around the challenges that you're going to see on these people, that they are like being on that flat curve for so long time, as a mistake, as a mindset, as a challenge?
It's definitely a mindset thing.
Yeah,
Number one, satisfaction. You've already made all of the money you wanted. So you achieve the goal, therefore there's nothing more you strive for. Number two is you want more, but you are unwilling to change your approach. Therefore, by exhausting all of the potential you have in the approach you are using, you maximize it. This is, you are operating at scale, but you cannot scale up. Business is a very, very technical affair. And as I said at the beginning, every single stage of the way, you will need something else to drive the results you want from it. So at the beginning, let's say from 0 to about $250,000, you are in the stage of trading your time for money. So you have only 24 hours in a day. You can command better revenue or more revenue by upping your prices. But you can only do so much, because the higher your price goes, the lower your potential pool of customers. So the only way you can actually break through the barrier is you're going to need more people. If you are talking about people, then you're going to have very different set of problems, because now your objective is not to do a job, but your job is to make sure that the people who do the job have everything they need in order to be at the peak efficiency. And that makes you a manager, and your success criteria are completely different. Then it's not only making sure that the people have everything they need on the job. At some point, as you keep growing your team, you wouldn't be able to service 50, 70, 100, maybe 500 people. So you're going to need the middle layer between you and those people. So you're going to need managers. Again, very different skill set for you. You need to know what kind of people you need to find to become the managers to manage the team you have set up. So it's definitely the mindset trap that if you are unwilling to learn and change, you can only operate at scale to maximize the capacity you have. You cannot break through that limit of it.
Sounds good, sounds good, sounds good. And before we reset, Tabitha, would you like to reset the room a little bit?
A lot of notes from Peter and Peter. I appreciate that. And I love what you said when you were sharing people start with too small of a goal. I think that's exactly what happened in my personal life. I remember saying to myself, if you pay me $50,000 a year and I get to make my own schedule, I'll be happy. And it doesn't matter if it takes me 20 years to make 100 grand, because I would never make 100 grand as a nurse. This was 25 years ago. Guess how many years it took me to make 100 grand? 20 years. And so it's so powerful what you're sharing, and I hope people are grasping it. And I appreciate you being here this morning and sharing with us. But good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Growth Mastermind Group. We have Peter, and we are discussing the things that hold people back from growing and scaling their business. And we are the Growth Mastermind Group. We help other entrepreneurs find, fulfill, and unleash their potential. And we've been doing this at collaboration since 2019, and we appreciate you being here. We meet each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:35 a.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can follow our Growth Mastermind Group with the little green house at the top of the page. Don't forget to follow your moderators. If you're listening and you have a question, or you would like to join the stage and personally ask your question, feel free to either use the back channel to ask your question and we'll ask it for you, or join us on stage by raising your hand. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Peter.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Tabitha, for doing this. Yes, it is 100% valuable, and I hope people they see it in the same way that we are seeing, because otherwise that means either they're millionaires and they're competing with Elon Musk, or if not, well, they need to understand that it's important to learn that. And this being said, I have two very unique questions here for you. Yes?
Okay, go for it.
Ready for those?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So question number one, yeah, it is, how you will see the entrepreneurial stereotype in 50 years from now on? What you will see as a change inside as a, I'll say, the avatar that an entrepreneur will have in 50 years from now on, with everything that's going on right now?
That's an interesting one. Number one, I would say that there will be a great shift in from what we are seeing today to what we will see in the future, because a lot of failure today is coming from kind of old school mindset, where simply most of us are coming from the point of, all right, our parents have been employees all their life. Their parents have been employees all their life, and most of that is most of what we are doing comes from the mindset which has been passed to us over generations. As the world is changing, employment as such is slowly not deteriorating, but it's on its way out. And we see more and more people engaged in different ways of entrepreneurship. If there's a lot of people out there actually who are not like fully fledged entrepreneurs, but they are like contractors. So they are doing the job, but the company they have been hired by says, well, okay, we are not going to employ you, but if you will become self-employed, you can become a contractor. So this is kind of middle ground, and that will have its implications, let's say 10 to 20 years from now, as we're going to see more people in this freelance space, and more contractors who are not necessarily bound by all of the rules and limitations of full-time employment. Their kids, or they will be passing that view to their kids. And the children will see their potential in their future in a different way. So I would say the limitations of limiting beliefs people would have 50 years from now would be on the basis of, okay, rather, how can this be done, not in the sector of can it be done at all.
So it's going to be more like a switch, or maybe like transition as a mindset more than everything else.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because even looking at kids today or teenagers, they are not thinking about it, about business from the perspective of, oh, I need to find a job, or I need to do it in this way. With all of the social media they have, with all of the other tools which are readily available today, for them it's almost natural to become influencers and start doing things this way, to start promoting themselves. And they see it almost already as a default way of going about things, rather than, okay, if I want to buy this thing, or if I want this in my life, okay, it's probably going to take me 15 years of employment. And it's kind of perspective which they don't fancy at all. That's why big businesses have issues today to employ young people, because they are actively pushing back against the traditional office culture that, oh, you have to start at the very bottom, and you're going to be abused by everyone in this company for the next 2, 3, 5 years, and then maybe we will, or maybe they will allow you to do something serious. Yeah. So young people today, they don't want that, and they say, oh, thank you very much, I'm going to do something else. Therefore, they are setting up all of those profiles on social media. They are doing things in very innovative ways, and they're actively looking for ways how to compress time in their life so they can get what they want in the quickest way possible.
Definitely, it's an interesting perspective, and like it's kind of funny, like, because of this. I'll say the perception they have, that one, is that immediate gratification. Like they want it now, they don't want it later. They don't want to postpone it. And if they have to pass through, I'll say, fire, they will do so, but they just want the things done because they don't want to wait. And like, this is kind of great on one aspect that I see it, but on the same time, I'm thinking it's gonna kind of hurt them on the long run in a certain way, as they will want the things now, they will not have the patience of understanding them. They were just gonna go through, which is, like I said, good on one aspect, because that means you're gonna have more action people. But I'm just thinking, like, how many mistakes, how they're gonna amplify the amount of mistakes they're gonna do to that moment. Like, because right now we're talking about mistakes and we are like thinkers, and not very much about one email gratification, but you think in a few years from now on, with your perspective that you just mentioned, and I'm already seeing this like, I want now, so I don't care, I'm just gonna go and do it. And you're gonna see all this hurted, I would say, hearts of entrepreneurs that, they learned it on the harsh way. And I think it's a
Maybe
sign.
not.
Yeah.
You know why? Because as I say, business is a very technical affair. And if there exists someone like myself, for example, who is really loving putting things in perspective for others. And one of the greatest things I've achieved with people I worked with was completely reframing the whole situation for the person. So technically, we can look at it as a liberating factor, where you have a person who is so focused on instant gratification that the person is going to do anything to get what he or she wants in the shortest time possible. Then, in order to set them up for a long-term success, what someone like myself needs to do is to frame the big goal for them in a way, actually, this is not impossible for you. The whole long, big journey is going to take like 6, 7, 10 short runs. And this is your instant gratification target number 1 for you, then instant gratification target number 2, 3, 4. So actually, I believe this may be a beneficial thing, that you have a series of short runs with very clear objectives, very clear results. You get it done, okay, fine, what's next? And it makes it less complicated. It is taking the burden off your shoulders. So actually, it is that big job I'm involved in now. Actually, you're not, because while you are following a big target, big 10x goal, we spoke about it at the beginning. Right now, you need to achieve this, to finish run number 1. And then you can move to the next one, because without completing the first one, you're never going to get to the very end.
Sounds good. I like your perspective. It's having a different twist than my way of seeing the things, and that's good. At the end of the day, like, we all have this difference. So this is where we makes the things more enjoyable and more different, because otherwise it's going to be boring. Everybody to think the same. So I'm always enjoying to have a different perspective from somebody else. By the way, if anybody has any question, Tabitha, Christian, anybody down stage, feel free to ask. This is a great moment for you to ask any question you have. So in that way, we make sure our conversation is going to go on. And talking about the perspective of the future, what is Peter Vasil Russell plans as a future, and what is the things that I will say you have it as that 50 years, not 5 years, 50 years plan from now on?
An interesting one, 50 years plan. no idea whether anyone even plans for 50 years. Well, Grant does, yeah. He's absolutely clear about his goal. However, don't think he's got years attached to it. I would say for me, it would be seeing the success of people I'm working with. People who come to me with problems which look unsolvable to them, and see them not only get through those hurdles to the next stage, but to the next one, and see the effect of having the impact at this stage, because without it, the rest wouldn't have happened. And supporting them through their journey. And that's one of the most rewarding things I see in what I'm doing today, to actually make people understand that there is no such thing like a problem without a solution, and anything is possible. So 50 years from now, hard to say what's going to happen. Hoping that I'm still going to be around.
Well, we have to see that it's possible, no?
I can't hear Claudio. Hold on.
If you put if we have to see that's possible, yeah. If you put your mind to it, it's gonna be achievable. So we have to find that
100%.
destination. You know, like yeah, I want to live 100 years. There's no negotiation on that one, no. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, like very interesting, because, you know, I'm not sure if you follow on this idea that basically in the past, people, the lifespan was very like low, like, you know, 30, 40 years, and now like it's expanding. So we have to think with all this technology, with the IVs that they give when you've been to the Grandona events, that makes you to be feeling younger. So maybe they're gonna give an IV shot and we're gonna live 150 years. So the 50 years
We'll
not
see.
gonna be like necessarily the immediate target to say like that is gonna be the next one. Like it's too short of a span.
It's actually an interesting point, because you may have noticed that when you look at people who live over 100 years, that past a 100 years mark, they are obviously at that point they don't have any teeth, but they are starting to grow new teeth, which is an interesting thing for me, because we've all grown with knowing that, okay, you know, once you're an adult, these are your teeth, and if you're going to lose them, that's it for you. Yeah, they are only the miracles of dentistry are going to help you. But it's an interesting thing to look at, because if this can happen naturally, that means that it should be possible to live 150 years. It's just, you know, you need to care about your own body well enough so you can actually enjoy living that long.
Yes, and as a young entrepreneur, I'm assuming also you have to think twice before you're gonna act still. Like not to be in the middle reports, because it can kill you sometimes. But yes, great point there. So I have a kind of I would say last questions before I'm gonna ask you to share your way of being contact. What is your perception of being part of a Grow Mastermind? What do you think if it's important? How you see it, and what is your perception of it?
Okay, so it's very simple. In order to be successful over a long period of time, you need to surround yourself with people who think alike, who have similar goals, and who are on a similar journey, because you cannot make a journey of success and still be surrounded by the same people. It just doesn't work like this, because every single successful person looking back, their friends, their family many times are gonna leave them, or they have to leave those people behind, because with new challenges, you are changing, your view is changing. With the money coming in, obviously, you are at a level, you're operating at a level your friends and family don't understand. And things which are now, once you made, let's say, a progress to the next level, they don't understand those things. And you thinking, okay, 100 grand is not a lot of money. Well, if they haven't ever even earned 100 grand in their life in a year, well, it may look like you're bragging, or simply, you know, they see you have changed. So you need to be part of a group, of a movement which evolves with you, and if it doesn't, you need to find the next one. So it is very, very important to be part of this group, and part of others which bring together people on a similar journey with similar objectives, similar challenges, so you are supported and you can support others at the same time on the journey, because those things we are sharing here cannot be shared outside without consequences. It's not like we are doing something secret or something illegal. It's just people won't understand it and won't take it on the face value, or they would take it on face value, but it doesn't mean for the same thing for them. It does mean for us.
Absolutely, sir, and I agree with you. You really need to be part of, surround yourself with the people that like you. And I always like that expression, birds of the same feather flock together. So,
I have a question for Peter.
Yeah, go ahead.
I heard you say the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs have was they don't have a plan. The second mistake that I heard today was that they don't think big enough, or they think too small. My question is,
Was the other 8?
right, exactly. But just, obviously the plan that can be solved. There's many solutions for that. But the thinking too small, you covered a couple of mindset or option or things that they could do to kind of help with their mindset. But I'm curious, and then you talked about, which was phenomenal, you talked about how what's going to happen in the future, because everybody's hiring contractors, or everybody is, and I'm an independent contractor for the company that I work with, so I get that. But you talked about how there's going to be this shift, and big companies they're struggling with finding good people or the right people. And so my question is, hold on, I gotta shut this off. My question is how does an individual, I think, and I'd like your opinion, it's not necessarily a question, I guess, but so many individuals that I run into, they love the idea of being an entrepreneur. With that being said, they want freedom and flexibility. They want to come and go as they want. They don't want to have a boss telling them what to do or when to do it or how high to jump. And they don't want someone telling them their worth. I hear that a lot. However, at the same time, I see these wannabe entrepreneurs that they don't even understand the level of commitment energy, tenacity, and I could continue, right? That it takes to be an entrepreneur. So what would you tell somebody like such as myself who's trying to find those people? Because you said that it was super funny because I was laughing inside, right? When you said the solution to the business problem is more people, and
Yes.
everybody's looking for more people, but finding the people is difficult because there's these, I hate to use this because I'm not trying to be negative, but the entrepreneur wannabe without all of the other things that it takes to be an entrepreneur. What's your opinion and solution for finding the right people?
Oh, okay. That's actually very easy to solve. The number one mistake, not thinking big enough, is the hint here. So the reason why big businesses tend to grow, or really ambitious entrepreneurs tend to grow really quickly, is that they are not shy about their goals. So the goals they are having, they are sharing with people, and that way they are finding others who want to achieve those things with them. And at the same time, the biggest limit which exists in employment in traditional way of doing things is that the structure which has been put in place is limiting the potential of people, and therefore it's limiting the potential of output the whole team can produce. So if you are open about, this is the big thing I want to achieve, and I'm looking for someone who would want to achieve this with me, and this is the potential, so there's potentially a massive payoff, yes, for a massive amount of work, but it's going to be worth it. That's the thing which separates the people who want to do this for the money. You would potentially pay them, or the massive payout they would see at the very end of it. So it's about clarity of, okay, I'm building this thing, it's going to be that big, and this is the potential for someone who will come on board and help me with building this thing. It's about framing all of it. Hope that that gives sense, Tabitha.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it is kind of funny because
With that, we have reached the bottom of the hour, and Peter Vasil, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
How would an individual reach you? What's the best way for someone to reach you if they wanted to learn more about the coaching that you do for entrepreneurs?
Okay, the best way to do it is to either send me a message directly at petevasil@grantcardoneteam.com, or open the website, which is peterrussellconsulting.com, and schedule a meeting with me.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Peter.
thank you very much, Mr. Russell, Peter Vasil Russell. Mentioning every single name, I always have to do that. And I appreciate for your time and all your wisdom that you share with us, and looking forward to hear more of you, and looking forward to see your progress, and see how you're going to help others on their journey, yeah, looking for that always collaboration for that we needed for us to do a progress. Collaboration is the new currency, as we all know. And not only that, looking forward for that, I will say 50 years from now on, a storyline that we're going to talk to each other about how your business took off like a rocket ship. And yeah, I appreciate you one more time, sir, and I appreciate all your shares. And one more time, everybody, we're gonna have our today room is gonna be always on Clubhouse as a replay, and it's also gonna be on the YouTube video. So if you want to look for the YouTube or podcast, you can go on there, and we're gonna see soon. We're gonna put the replay there. So if you want to listen to it again, replay it, relearn from it, and take notes, and make sure you're gonna have that nuggets that Peter shared with you today with us, and make sure you're gonna 10x it and fulfill your destiny. I will say that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for our time, and have an amazing birthday, everybody, and see you on Friday. Tabitha, would you like to do a wrap up for the room?
Absolutely. It's just what I was thinking. We want to thank you once again for hopping into our Growth Mastermind Group room this morning. If you'd like to follow the Growth Mastermind Group or a group of entrepreneurs that have been on a mission since 2019 to help other entrepreneurs find, unleash, and fulfill their potential, we meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:35 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this Friday is no exception to the rule. We want to have a room that is fun. It's going to be a freebie Friday. If you, as an entrepreneur or coach or professional, have a freebie, we'd like to hear about it. So it's going to be a free-for-all Friday freebie. So please join us here 8:35 for some fun on a Friday, and let us help you grow your business to its full potential. We'll see you Friday.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Still recording.